sure. The gates of hell are open!
They say that they walk the streets.
Are you shitting me? I'm going to enjoy hearing you scream.
You've gathered statues, bet on cockfights, and most importantly, danced karaoke. You may have finished your time with Sleeping Dogs a little while ago, but I'm chatting with Dan Sochan from United Front Games, and he says this Halloween, there's a reason to come back. Hey Dan, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
First off, Sleeping Dogs was released a few months back. Post-release, are you happy with the consensus from the fans and the critics?
We're really happy.
Mm-hmm.
We've got tons of positive feedback from the community, from the fans. The sales have been great, and the media's really responded well to it as well. I think we've had some challenges. The project was canceled at one point, and I think it's created this great sort of underdog story. And we're really happy. We've had a lot of fun working now, onto the DLC.
Yeah, and considering the gift of hindsight, you said yourself it was great. Everything went according to plan. Is there anything you'd really change from a development standpoint?
You know what? We're pretty happy with the way things sort of shaped up. I think having that additional time to really polish, focus on the game was, a blessing. We needed that, and it really worked out well. So we're happy with that. I think there's, little things that we would probably have tweak and adjust, but we've been really actively listening to the community and to the fans. And we've got a title update that's out now, like a patch, and basically it's made some more gameplay improvements and tweaks, making a few things easier here and there and making a few things a little more challenging. So, keep the feedback and everything coming to us because we're listening.
Going forward, looking at DLC, you've already had a bunch for this game. What are some of the big DLC packs that have already been released for Sleeping Dogs?
So a lot of the early ones were sort of around outfits and they give you some gameplay benefits as well. So the Tactical Soldier gives you a grenade launcher that you can be using around the world itself, and additional armor that you can put on. We've had sort of Screen Legends 1 come out, which I think is pretty cool for fans of Hong Kong cinema and Chinese lore. Lots of cool, crazy outfits to put way in. And then we've had a SWAT pack, so dressing up in a SWAT outfit and actually going and doing missions that are very specific to the sort of that environment, and as well as a street race pack. So a race on a bike, a race in a car, and a race in the water in a boat, which is our first in the game.
Now coming up, you have a new DLC that is very different from all the ones you just described. It's coming in at around Halloween. What is this particular DLC?
This one's called Nightmare in North Point, and I've got to say, of anything we've released so far, this is the one I'm the most excited about. We've been working on it since we shipped. That next day, we started brainstorming, coming up with kind of cool ideas, inspired by, sort of Hong Kong cinema, things like Big Trouble Little China, which, is kind of a great over-the-top film. It was fun for us. It's called Nightmare in North Point, and basically a Triad member who, had been crossed the Triads. He was killed. Now he's come back and he's kidnapped your girlfriend, and he's, taking over all of North Point in Hong Kong. And you've got to battle him, as well as these Chinese hopping vampires and these elite ghouls. So it's definitely a departure from the kind of serious, gritty crime drama that we focused on with the main campaign, which was a lot of fun for us. We were kind of the shackles were off. We're like, what would be great and over the top, and something that we really think the fans would love to see. And it's been a ton of fun for us to work on.
You said it yourself, it's very over the top. Can you speak to some of the over the top situations that your protagonist would get into this DLC that maybe wouldn't happen in the normal pathway of the game?
Well, I think the most interesting thing for us was, as we did research and found out that they're called Jiangshi, which are sort of the Chinese equivalent of a vampire. They actually hop. They don't run. They don't, sort of fly. They hop. And so getting these in the game, and they have completely different fighting style. You need to drink mystical tea to be able to take on these elite ghouls, which gives you a whole different set of martial arts moves as well that are over the top, more powerful. You acquire a peachwood sword, which was used for Taoist exorcisms, and so using that, you're able to battle these sort of supernatural beings, and as well as possessed enemy gang members. So there's a lot of fun, cool things to do that are all grounded in sort of Chinese lore and in Hong Kong cinema, but they're just really fun to do.
Well, yeah, even it seems here that even though you're going for something that is over the top, it still seems very authentic. You're not using these mystical and imagined names for, the ghouls and the hopping vampires. You're actually able to find something that you couldn't even write yourself, an amazing hopping ancient Chinese vampire.
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise for us. Like, how do you make something that's hopping be scary? I'm picturing bunnies, but we watched tons of films and movies, and it's pretty cool. And how this comes from 1,000-year-old lore, and so to incorporate that and be sort of authentic, it's been a lot of fun. These Jiangxi, the way that you sort of stun them is you put a piece of parchment paper on their forehead, equivalent of like a Post-it note, and it sort of stuns them, and then you're able to finish them off. So, we tried to get all of those little details in there as well.
How long do you think, ballpark figure, this particular DLC will offer players in terms of gameplay? And what other new weapons, you spoke about it a little bit there, new weapons and new advancements are coming in the Nightmare in North Point pack?
I spoke 2 to 3 hours of sort of the main campaign, and then as well on top of that, there's this sort of secondary content. So there's people around the city that have been trapped in these sort of mystical webs, and you've got to defeat all of the enemies around them to clear them out. So that adds a lot of sort of replayability and fun as well. We've added in some new combat props, so these fire barrels or these portals. Basically, these portals have opened up, sort of bridging the gap between our world and theirs, and you've got to defeat the enemies by throwing them back in. Like I said, the mystical tea, and a whole new idea of sort of the combat meter, as well as these enemies you fight have different fight styles, so you can't just use sort of the same strategy you've used in maybe in the main version of the game. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fresh material, and again, it's kind of cool seeing these areas like the night market full of undead, possessed people walking around. It's been great for us to work on. It's definitely we had to kind of put our thinking caps on and approach it differently.
Well, again, it sounds like a great reason to come back and either finish off, if you didn't get a chance, make sure you finish off Sleeping Dogs and check out the Nightmare in North Point pack. Finally, anything you'd like to say to the fans who really, appreciated, loved your product, and created this great sense of community around Sleeping Dogs?
They really have. I mean, the game wouldn't be the success it is today if it weren't for the fans, for them really getting on there, being vocal, supporting us, letting the publishers know that, they want to see this game out there and that they're supporting new IP. Everyone always says they want new games out there, but, it's tough. You put something out, a brand new idea, and if it doesn't sell well, that's the end of that. So, it's been fantastic. We really appreciate it. And, for anyone who has completed the full version of the game, when they play Nightmare in North Point, there's a couple of little Easter eggs we've hidden in there just for you guys.
Well, there you go. Heard it here. Even have some added Easter eggs. I would be remiss, though, Dan, if I didn't ask you this. It's something that we've gotten requests for every time we aired any of your interviews. Will we see more dating DLCs? Everyone wants to date Emma Stone a little bit more. It's amazing the amount of requests and saying, I want more Emma Stone. I want more not Ping. I want more of those characters. I know you might not be able to talk about it, but it's something that a lot of fans want. Can you speak to that at all?
Hey, trust me, more dates with Emma Stone. I'm definitely at the top of that list as well. Right now, nothing that we can kind of talk about, but we do have some other pretty cool stuff. We've got at least 6 months of DLC planned right now, so we're only about sort of a third of the way through. So there's lots of fun stuff down the road that I'll be excited to chat with you guys about more in the future.
All right, so there you go. Not a complete no, a little, again, ominous as ever. Thanks so much for talking, Dan. Really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. And again, thanks so much for the support in the game.
Pick up the Nightmare in North Point pack for sleeping dogs. I'm Andy Borkowski for Video Game Sophistry.
Head to www.puresophistry.com for more.